You're listening to Centered and Sent, a podcast of Impact Church, encouraging disciples of Jesus to center their lives on the gospel and to be sent with a kingdom purpose.
So, Pastor Brendan, I think this is something that people often ask without realizing it, but as they're looking for churches, especially with COVID and all that stuff is now over and maybe they want to return to the church, what are some things that they should be looking out for in really selecting a home church?
Google it. No. Actually, don't do that. No, Google's not bad. When I think about how we could find a good church, I think today, living in a post-COVID or even still during pandemic world, that maybe 3 years ago the answer was Google it and find it on their website. Now the answer is YouTube it and find them on YouTube and watch one of their services. And whereas people used to come to a church a few weeks to try it out, test drive it, now people just watch it online for a few weeks before they decide to even show up. So I would say the first thing is if you get a personal invitation from someone, take it. Find a good church. If someone is personally inviting you, that's a really good sign of a healthy church. And so go. Don't wait for the YouTube video to post. Don't wait to Google it. If someone invites you, and I'm not just talking about door hangers, like if someone looks you in the eye and invites you to their church, that's usually a good sign. You should take it. But once you get there, what are some things? How would you know that you're in a healthy church? I would answer that question first by some of the things, and I know we'll do another one on maybe some ways that a church would not be a good church to go to. But I would just say beware of cults first and foremost. Like if you walk into a place and it feels kind of cultish, everyone's wearing the same t-shirt, they all quote the same things over and over again. There's clearly one personality on stage and he is the leader. Yeah. Sometimes things really are as they appear. And so just be careful of that. But here's some good things. Number one, are they preaching the Bible? Topics are fine. I don't care if you call the series the Book of Ephesians or you call it the Church in the 21st Century. Are they reading and teaching the Bible? Is the Bible a central part of the whole service? Not just during the sermon, but is the Bible present in worship songs? Is the Bible present in other things? So definitely, is the Bible there? Number two, I'd say, look, do they give an invitation for salvation? Are they inviting people to give their lives to follow Jesus? Or is it just a motivational lesson and then everyone goes home? So are they giving a gospel presentation and invitation? Number three, are people contributing, not consuming? So when you walk in, do you feel like you went to a movie at a theater, or do you feel like you were a part of a movement? And there's a big difference in that. I would also say, see if someone invites you to their home, maybe for a small group, a community group, or just for dinner. Statistics say 90% of international students at college universities have never been to an American's home. A sign of a healthy church will be that more life change happens around the dining room table than happens in the auditorium on Sundays. I would say, too, does the church have a passion for the nations? We are not just the local church, we are also the global church. And so does that church have a passion to reach the nations? I would say is the church have a passion for diversity. Don't judge a book by its cover, all right? So we're a church, we're not even a year old. You may not walk in and feel like we're a super diverse church, but we want to be. We're praying, we're being intentional about building relationships with the nations, and God willing, 5 years from now, we will be. And so look for that passion for diversity, and not just ethnically, but economically as well, age, right? Generationally. Does the church value kids? I'm not saying do they have Disney World inside their building. I'm just saying, is there a genuine love for kids? We were visiting a church one time here in the area, and they didn't have any kids ministry. And we walked in with 3 kids, and people popped up out of their seats. You could tell they'd been waiting for weeks for kids to walk into their building. This was right after people started coming back after COVID, and they took our kids down into the kids' room, told them a Bible story. They didn't have any kids, but when kids came, they were ready. And that told me that they valued kids, even if they didn't have 100 kids in their church. And lastly, are they actually making disciples? Like, not just talking about it. Not do they throw out the buzzwords. One time I went to a church, they had a big banner. It said, ask us about our small groups. So I asked the pastor before I got up to preach, tell me about your small groups. He said, what are you talking about? I said, tell me about your small groups. He said, we don't have small groups. I said, look at the banner that's covering up your baptistry right now. It says, tell us about your small groups. He goes, oh goodness, we put that up 2 years ago. I completely forgot that was even there. Don't be fooled by banners, slogans, words that are used. Look around. Are disciples actually being made? So those are just some things I would say to look for when you're looking for a healthy church.